DreamWorks' Puss and Boots, The Last Wish, is a modern classic, an excellent movie with delightful animation, a compelling plot, mature themes, and meaningful characters. And among those characters are not one, not two, but three primary antagonists: Goldilocks, Jack Horner, and Death, also known as the Wolf. But what if I told you that of these antagonists, two of them are straight up villains: Death and Jack Horner? Well, Jack Horner is the most universally agreed upon villain here. Death's status as a villain has been somewhat controversial. When this movie first came out, I saw many people comment that Death was not a villain, but simply an antagonist in the movie. And those comments often received hundreds, if not thousands of likes. But I believe the misconception that Death is not a villain comes from a misunderstanding of his character and what truly separates villains from pure antagonists. I'll be debunking arguments about Death only being an antagonist to prove once and for all that the Wolf from Puss and Boots 2 is an outright villain. Firstly, people like to claim that Death is not a villain based on the idea that he was just doing his job.
You serious?
With all due respect, this argument is fundamentally flawed, because doing your job and being a villain are not mutually exclusive from one another. Almost every atrocity in human history was made possible by people who were just doing their jobs. On top of that, the movie itself makes it very clear the Wolf was not doing his job. Death is generally meant to be a neutral entity. Someone that does not so much as kill people as they do simply collect the souls of those who have perished from other causes. In Puss and Boots 2, Puss is still alive and kicking, yet Death repeatedly attempts to murder Puss himself. The role of Death is not to take someone before their time. Rather, it is to guide someone to the afterlife when their time has come. And in the movie, Death even admits to be cheating and breaking this rule. While it's true that other personifications of Death generally do just do their jobs, in this movie, the Wolf was not just doing his job. Next, people like to claim Death is not a villain based on the misunderstanding that he was just trying to teach Puss a lesson. With all due respect, no, he wasn't. At least, not in the morally just way that these people claim. In Puss in Boots 2, Death's goal is to kill Puss as vengeance for the hero not valuing 8 of his 9 lives. He takes it personally that Puss in Boots laughs in the face of Death, seeing it as a direct insult to himself. Don't get me wrong, Death makes a good point. Perhaps Puss doesn't deserve 9 lives if he's just going to waste them all anyway, but having a good point does not disqualify someone from being a villain. Despite his understandable reasoning, Death's motivations are clearly driven by spite and malice, and malicious intent is what separates villains from pure antagonists. This is not to say antagonists can't do bad things, because heck, even protagonists can do bad things. But let's take a look at Goldilocks, for example. Despite some of her more questionable actions, she isn't driven by spite. In the movie, it is revealed she wants the last wish in order to finally have a human family. She is driven by an innocent desire of belonging, a desire that is fulfilled when she realizes that her found beer family is her real family. She only serves as a rival and an antagonist because she had the same goal as Puss, competing with him for it. Let's compare that to Death, who clearly takes sadistic pleasure in tormenting and psychologically abusing Puss throughout the movie. It was never his intention for Puss to learn his lesson, because when he does learn his lesson, Death gets absolutely ticked off. He curses in Spanish, beating himself up over playing with his food, and tells Puss that he just ruined the experience for him. He wasn't planning on Puss having a character arc. In his own words, Death was planning on killing an arrogant little legend who thought he was immortal. And after Puss repents, Death backs off. But this doesn't mean that Death had any good intentions. All it means is that Death has a sense of honor, which is consistent with him offering Puss to pick up his weapon before they fight. This is what we call redeeming qualities. Having redeeming qualities does not disqualify someone from being a villain. It just means they aren't a pure evil one. You know, like Jack Horner, the other villain of this movie. The best thing you can say about Death is that he abandons his villainy at the very end of the movie, but he remains an overarching villain throughout this movie nonetheless. In contrast, Anxiety from Inside Out 2 is a pure antagonist. He suppresses the other emotions and takes over, not out of malice, but because he genuinely thought she was doing what was best for Riley. Terry from Soul is a pure antagonist. She pursues Joe purely because it's her job to ensure that departed souls make it to the great beyond, not out of a personal vendetta. But Death from Puss and Boots, The Last Wish, is a villain. A lawful evil villain who stood on business and targeted Push out of principle, but did so with malicious, sadistic, and murderous intentions, wanting to take a soul before his proper time. Let me know your thoughts on Death in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and peace out.